head boys basketball coach of the Southside Archers. Coach, you're
Sir.
15-1. Congratulations to this point. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe and I hope you're staying warm right now,
Mhm.
because it's pretty blistery and cold out there. But just what has this season kind of brought out of you? What is it meant to you to get off to this hot start? Obviously, you've had some good teams while in your time at Southside. But this team just maybe feels a little bit different.
Yeah, and first off, thank you guys for having me on. And you're
Absolutely.
exactly right. That winter wonderland out there. Hey, thank goodness for technology. We can do this from the
Right.
confines of our own home. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, these guys right here, it's funny because every once in a while, I mean, you get a perfect storm. I've had a lot of these guys have attended my youth kids camp, foster kids camp from the time they were little, and they've been ball boys on other teams that I've had, when I was at Bishop Lures and some of my early Southside teams. But I call them Muppet babies, but they literally grew up in the gym. And I don't know if it rubbed off, but they got an idea of the culture and kind of the things that are expected in our program. So, when they came in as freshmen, that we competed. And, I always say people, when you coach high school sports, it's not like ESPN where you get to watch all the games and you get commentary and people break it down and give you some behind the scenes. But I think we won like maybe 7 games. But what people don't realize, there were 7 games that, were in the balance that we could have, easily
Mhm.
won 14 games that year that we lost in the crunch time. So you look at these guys when they come back as sophomores and they won 17 games. So, I was looking at the growth. I love the way that they play and they buy in and understand the message and the things that we want to do both offensively and defensively. And so, you culminated this year with these guys. It's their third year, and I always, call them my seniors, but they're really they're juniors. But the fact that they've been in and their understanding of everything that we want to do is at such a mature level that it has been a benefit to our team. But you tack that on with the fact that these guys have physically matured. You
Mhm.
take somebody like Terrence Jordan, who was, 5'5" maybe,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a sophomore, to now he's grown to he's probably a shade under 6 foot, but he's put that time in the weight room and he's got a lot physically stronger. And Terrence has always been a high IQ guy. So
Mhm.
now you take his physical maturity with his high IQ, along with these other guys, Corte Wallace, Irby, Sandoval. All these guys are gym rats that love playing basketball and again understand their roles.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Terrence Jordan is the beginning of making me feel old. My dad coached his dad in
Okay.
middle school. His dad played at Geyer Middle School. My dad coached a couple championship teams with his dad. So I seen the name on the roster and I'm like, nah, that can't be. This can't be. So unfortunately, just hearing his name and watching him play because he looks just like him too.
Yeah.
It's just one of those moments. But I definitely that helps me get to the next part because like I wanted to talk about some of these guys because I told Bryce and was telling the listeners, and because everyone brings up the one loss to Homestead, which my personal evaluation and assessment, I just thought the only reason they won that game was just size. I felt like they just had the size advantage, and that night it was just that was their night to get all the rebounds and all the second chance points and all that. But what I told everyone is this group may not have all that size, but they got a group of very talented basketball players that all play together as a unit. What would you say makes this team so special? What do you think is the strength of this team?
No, I think you spot on. That's funny, DC. I tell them, our superpower is us playing together and our high IQ. We come out and as you said, the way these guys share the basketball and I've mentioned their basketball IQ, we spread the floor. So you can come in there with your 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". I get it. We may be hurt a little bit defensively, and we try to do things to combat that. But offensively, hey, good luck with that. I want to, you got to put those big guys on my guys. And we spread the floor and they understand, where the mismatch is. They understand attacking gaps. and we're patient enough that, we're not just going to dribble in there 1-on-5, or somebody's going to take the first thing that smells like a shot. We spread them out, go set screens, cut, slash, get over there and try to put everything, to our advantage. And they're not going to shoot the ball until we have that advantage.
For you, and you look at the rest of the conference, because it's obviously the SAC is competitive. Most years, and especially at the top this year, it feels like there's a little bit deeper, of depth for this conference, and where you guys kind of fit into that equation. Do you feel like it's as deep as it has been in years past? And what are the challenges going in every single weekend where you're going to have to bring your A game every single weekend, or you could get upset?
Yeah, well, when you're dealing with SAC, the thing about that, what always makes it competitive, and you don't know who can beat who, is the fact that all these kids know each other. They've grown up together. Some of them went to the same elementary schools, same middle schools. They play against each other in the summertime. So there is no factor of that fear factor where you just heard about somebody and you're not sure what they're bringing to the table. These guys all like I said, have grown up together and run in the same circles, and they want those bragging rights. So when you roll out and it's time to play an SAC game, that's just it. It's almost like competing against, your family member. You want to do better than them, so you can have those bragging rights throughout the summertime. Just us. The one thing that I like to remind people is funny because everybody, all these pats on the back and people telling us, "Oh, big game," and "Hey, you guys in Homestead are coming in," and I laugh. And I'm like, "Whoa, slow down! Remember, we were predicted to finish eighth before the season
Right,
started."
right.
So then that's what I tell my guys. I said, "Well, everybody's patting us on the back. Remember, these are the same people told you guys we were going to finish eighth." And all I could do, all summer long, people want to talk about who wasn't there, who we didn't have coming in. All I could do is as a coach, and I tell my guys, I said, I can't do anything about it. I just had to grin and bare my teeth and kind of chuckle to myself in my mind and just, let's fast forward, we get to the season, and then you guys talk to me. But we want to go out each and every night, though. We remember that, and we want to go out and prove and show folks, exactly, our capabilities and, the potential that we have.
Yeah, I was talking to Javon Irby, and I know you got a few guys that are stars on both the basketball court and the football field. KJ Alexander's another one that is a star on the football field too. So you got a few of those guys that kind of make that transition. But I talked to Irby, and he was telling me about that. He's a guy that he never really seems to get too high or too low. He's just always like, yeah, what up, Irby? Yeah, what's up? You just won like by 30 points. Like that's all I get. Like yeah, I'm good. He never gets too high or too low. But that was something I was bringing up to him too because I've seen all the the preseason rankings and all that stuff. I watched that stuff too, and that was something that he told me too. With some of the football players who they kind of have that chip on their shoulder anyway from football, but they bring that over to the basketball court, and people like Irby were like, "Yeah, we see the standings and preseason rankings, and that kind of fuels us a little bit. And, when we get going, is we don't." People don't expect us to play good basketball. People don't expect us to be where we're at. So it's almost like it gives us that extra motivation to come out and beat these teams that people pick to finish above us.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's the other thing, like I said, I love about these guys. I mean, sometimes these guys finish my sentences, and then and it does my heart well when I look at all these different interviews. If you listen, everybody is on message, everybody is on point. That lets me know these guys, they listen. I pay attention to what they tell some of the younger guys. They're great leaders, and some of the things they're telling these younger guys are all about our expectations and things that they totally understand. And when you guys mention football, their record may not show it, but again, it's like what I talked about when these guys were freshmen. If you pay close attention, they're out there competing on that football field.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I give a shout out, to Coach Goodwill and that staff because again, I go out and I support, and that's something that I learned at Bishop Lewis is, hey, this football thing and basketball, you kind of connected at the hips. The more success they have out there, the better off, I'm going to be as a basketball coach. So I go out and give them my full support. And, I talk to those guys, following football games. I mean, we talk and because there's a lot of comparisons. And going into this season, you brought up KJ and I want and JT. We had a couple other guys who were talking about they wanted to focus on football and weren't even thinking
Ah,
about coming out. or if they came out, they were telling me, they were going to miss this game, that game.
Yep.
But fortunately, like I told them, I said, you guys need to check the resume, understand who I am. I've got a long list of football players that played basketball, play football at a high level, from Trey Essex to who has multiple Super Bowls. You know,
He's the next guest.
oh,
He's
really?
yeah,
Okay.
he's coming up right after you. He wanted to make sure that we told you. He said, "What's up?"
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell him, yes, Trey, yes, yes. But the bottom line, and my point, and again, over there in Lures, you had guys that went both ways. And I told him, I said, hey, I said, guys, let me tell you how this works. I get it, this new wave 707 stuff, AAU of football. I said, but at Southside, I said, our record may not show it. But if you want something that's going to distinguish yourself and show them that you're a winner, you come out, the success you have on the basketball floor. Hey, you couple that with your athleticism that you have in football. Now, coaches, they understand. It's like, hey, I want to talk to that kid. I've got a winner on my hands. And the other thing we talked about, the record. I said, give me your record for football. Now, give me your record, your 2 years, playing basketball with us. And once you add it all up, I can see the wheels turning with these guys. And fortunately, those two guys made the right decision. There's a couple other guys that we weren't sure, what their role would have been, anyway. But as far as KJ and JT, I mean, those are two key cogs that have been with me. JT for 4 years, and KJ 3. So thus far, it's all working out.
Coach, does it make your job easier or harder when everybody's, on the same page, speaking the same language in interviews? And is it, what I mean is, like, does you have to come up with something new, or is it just everybody's kind of rowing in the same direction? So we're all kind of, in a rhythm. Is it make it easier or harder to, maybe kind of keep the motivation and keep the pedal down?
Now, that's a great question because it's funny. My past years, there's been teams that have made, state runs, and you get off into practices when you're headed for regional or headed to semi-state, and that's what you're like, man, okay, how does the message not get stale? What can I do to motivate? And you kind of, are on cruise control. So, what I've learned with these guys, we already do a bunch of different creative things for these guys in practice. And it's funny because I get a lot of compliments, especially old school basketball guys that watch our games, like, oh, I love how you guys play. But we do different things in practice to keep it interesting. I mean, you come to one of my practices, we might have play a quarter of basketball where the guys aren't allowed to dribble. So, it's teaching them how to move and screen
Yep.
and things of that nature. We might do something where everything is all in the paint and, no dribbles, but that, you have to learn how to get open that way. We might cut the court in half, but it's all kind of ways that you can get creative to keep things from getting stale. And then the other thing, let's not be mistaken, we have a lot of things to improve on. And right now, like I told them, if you guys want my praises or me to pat you on the back, there's things we need to improve on defensively. And when they get those things down, then now, they've come up a couple rungs on my ladder. But right now, we have plenty to improve upon. So, I don't want anybody to mistake that. And that's my message that I'm telling them. And they get it because I mean, we watch film and I'm looking and I'm that guy. And anybody that knows me, they're going to tell you, I don't care. People say, hey, you guys just won by 30. Hey, you just had a big win over such and such. But I'm the guy with the scowl on my face and coming in and, guy, my eyes are big, like, man, he's just mad after a win. But yeah, it's about improving. It's about
That's right.
knowing what's out there over that out there over that mountaintop. Dude, I'm
Hmm.
I'm I'm 56 now, and if you told him I've been coaching since '92. A different, and Trey, I'm sure, hey, he'll share stories with you about our days at Harding and our state championship runs and just exactly, who I am and who we were as a staff. But that's it. I'm not we don't rest on our laurels. I know what's out there. I'm not worried about who's in front of us, and that's just like, the 15 wins. I appreciate it, but our goal is to go out there each game one by one, and,
Yep.
and, and we plan to win that game. So it's like, hey, at the end of the day, when I look back on it, it's like collecting cans or baseball cards or something. And if I look back and I happen to have a couple hundred, hey, that's great. But my goal was just to go out there and obtain, that one.
Yeah, and a ton of great wins already on the resume this season. And as I know, and like you just said, it's only the beginning. A lot more is left to be accomplished. You still got some tough games on the schedule too. I know you got
Yes, sir.
Lewis who had the big win. I know you got New Haven, Wayne. Those are some tough teams too. But if anybody can do it, it's my Southside Archers. You're making me proud, Coach. You're making a lot of people proud. But me as an Archer alum, I couldn't be happier with what you're doing and what your guys are doing. A great group of young men that I talked to countless times, on the football field too. The sky's the limit for you guys. So this is only the beginning. Keep doing what you're doing, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.